Picture yourself standing in the kitchen of your home, preparing what might be the only meal you and your family will eat that day. You reach for firewood, ready to light it, but then you pause. In this war-ravaged corner of Ukraine, even a wisp of smoke curling from your chimney could be a death sentence. For in the skies above, Russian drones are always watching, their digital eyes scanning for any trace of human life. That fleeting puff of smoke could mark your home for a missile, a bomb, or a deadly drone strike. The simple act of cooking, an act of survival, has become a matter of life and death. This is not the plot of a dystopian film, nor a tale from a long-ago war. It is the daily reality for millions of Ukrainians living near the ever-shifting front lines. Their world is one of constant danger, where even warmth and food can betray them. Yet in the midst of this darkness, a humble hero has emerged. Portable solar power. How can something as seemingly ordinary as a solar panel, a battery, and a smoke-free cooktop become a family's shield, beacon, and lifeline all at once? Could the power of sunlight, so often taken for granted, truly tip the balance between hope and despair, survival and tragedy? To grasp the true impact of this technology, we must first understand how Ukraine arrived at such a crossroads. Before the war, Ukraine's energy system resembled that of many European nations, highly centralized, built on enormous coal-fired and nuclear power plants, with a web of high-voltage transmission lines and substations connecting cities, towns, and rural communities. For decades, this system powered Ukrainian homes, factories, and schools, fueling economic growth and modernization. But beneath the surface, it was a house of cards. Centralized grids, while efficient in peacetime, are dangerously brittle in war. When one part is struck, the effects ripple outward, threatening the entire network. When full-scale war erupted in February of the year 2022, this hidden vulnerability was exposed in the most brutal way. Russia's military strategy quickly targeted Ukraine's lifelines, its power plants, substations, and transmission lines. The devastation accelerated through 2023 and into 2024, with wave after wave of missile and drone attacks. In just 3 short months, between March and May of 2024, Ukraine lost 9 gigawatts of power generation capacity. To put that in perspective, that is enough electricity to supply several major European cities, such as Vienna, Prague, and Warsaw combined. In a nation already under immense pressure, this was a catastrophe of historic proportions. The consequences are staggering. According to detailed assessments by the World Bank and the Ukrainian government, direct war damages to Ukraine's energy sector have already exceeded $20 billion. The environmental toll is even more profound. More than $56 billion in ecological destruction have been recorded. Rivers are polluted by spilled fuels and chemicals, forests have been scorched by shelling and fires, and air quality in many regions has plummeted. The human cost is equally severe. 13% of Ukraine's entire housing stock has been destroyed. Millions of citizens have been displaced, and countless others are left living in shattered, barely habitable buildings exposed to the elements. For ordinary families, these cold statistics translate into a daily struggle for life. Over 1 million households, meaning nearly 3 million people, are trapped near the front lines, facing constant energy insecurity. Across Ukraine, around 10 million people find themselves in regions where electricity is unreliable, severely rationed, or absent altogether. Imagine trying to keep your children warm during the biting cold of a Ukrainian winter, or attempting to cook a simple meal, when every electrical line is a potential target, and every substation could vanish in a single explosion. International organizations have quickly recognized the scale of this crisis. The European Union, the World Bank, the United Nations, and a broad coalition of humanitarian agencies have pledged support, sometimes promising hundreds of billions of dollars for rebuilding and recovery. But as any survivor of disaster knows, grand promises cannot be eaten or used to heat a home. Large-scale repairs to power plants and infrastructure are painfully slow, hindered by logistical nightmares, ongoing security risks, and the mind-boggling magnitude of destruction. For millions, every day is a race against hunger, cold, and darkness. Yet amid this chaos, a new kind of humanitarian aid is quietly changing lives, one household at a time. Portable solar kits, ingeniously designed to be light, compact, and easy to set up, are being distributed by organizations such as Hope for Ukraine and the Energy Act for Ukraine Foundation. Each kit typically includes a 200-watt solar panel, a robust solar generator or battery, and a smokeless electric cooktop. In peacetime, these might seem like simple gadgets. In a war zone, however, they are nothing less than revolutionary. The difference they make is profound. Families can prepare hot meals, boil water for safety, power small heaters, and keep lights burning through the night, all without releasing a visible plume of smoke that could betray their location. They can charge mobile phones to contact loved ones, or access vital news and warnings. Children are able to power laptops for remote learning, ensuring education continues despite the chaos. Perhaps most importantly, these kits restore a sense of agency and psychological safety, a small island of control in a world ruled by uncertainty and fear. But this lifeline is desperately scarce. The demand for portable solar kits far outpaces the supply. Hope for Ukraine, one of the leading organizations on the ground, reports that 10,000 families are currently on its waiting list for these vital solar kits. To date, only 80 have been delivered. The organization hopes to distribute 220 more by the year's end, but even that is a drop in the ocean of need. As Yuri Boyechko, CEO of Hope for Ukraine, explains, everyone living in single-family homes uses firewood to cook and keep warm, but every time smoke is seen by Russian drones, it can mean immediate missile or drone strikes. The stakes could not be higher. Civilians are forced to choose between hunger and the risk of death simply for trying to feed their children or heat their homes. Why then, if these portable solar kits are so transformative, are they not everywhere? What stands in the way of a large-scale deployment that could save thousands or even millions of lives, and perhaps change the rules of survival in conflict zones forever? The answer lies at the intersection of logistics, cost, politics, and the harsh realities of ongoing war. First, let's consider logistics. War zones are among the most challenging environments for any aid effort. Roads are often cratered by bombs, bridges lie in ruins, and entire towns can remain cut off for weeks at a time. Humanitarian convoys face constant danger from shelling or ambush. Even when supplies reach urban centers, getting them to remote villages, where need is often greatest, can be all but impossible. Every solar kit must be transported, protected, and installed, often by courageous volunteers who risk their lives daily. The next barrier is funding. While solar technology has become significantly more affordable over the past decade, it still requires substantial upfront investment. The Energy Act for Ukraine Foundation estimates that more than 1 million families near the front lines need energy security, yet only a few hundred kits have reached the most isolated communities so far. The ambition is to distribute hundreds more, but the financial gap is staggering. Recovery needs for Ukraine's entire energy sector are now estimated to reach more than $500 billion over the coming decade. Money from international donors, while generous in intention, moves slowly, often trapped in the labyrinth of bureaucracy, red tape, and shifting political priorities. Political hurdles add yet another layer of complexity. Rebuilding a nation under siege demands coordination among dozens of governments, international agencies, and local partners, as Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal recently emphasized. The fourth phase of the rapid damage and needs assessment remains vital to our recovery strategy. Without unified action and a clear roadmap, even the best-funded initiatives can stall. Amid these challenges, however, lies a remarkable opportunity. The devastation of Ukraine's energy system has forced a reckoning with the old, centralized, fossil fuel-heavy model. In its place, a new vision is emerging, one that is cleaner, greener, and much more resilient. Experts believe that Ukraine's renewable energy potential, especially in solar, could reach nearly 900 gigawatts. That is enough to power much of Eastern Europe. In the face of war, Ukrainian businesses still managed to invest about $150 million into solar energy initiatives in 2023 alone. This determination to innovate, even under siege, is nothing short of extraordinary. International partners are responding. The European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, working with the European Union, is developing new financing mechanisms to boost Ukraine's renewable energy capacity by at least 1 gigawatt. This could potentially unlock an additional €1.5 billion in investment. At the same time, foundations such as the Energy Act for Ukraine have already helped install 900 kilowatts of solar photovoltaic capacity and 1 megawatt of advanced energy storage. These systems have brought reliable power to over 1.5 million people, as Valburga Hemetsberger, CEO of Solar Power Europe, notes. Solar power, as the most easily deployable clean energy source, will be key to rebuilding Ukraine and ensuring lasting energy security. Let's take a broader view. If Ukraine succeeds in scaling up portable and decentralized solar power, It could serve as a blueprint for conflict zones worldwide. Consider Syria, Yemen, Sudan, or regions of Afghanistan, places where centralized power grids are perpetually at risk. Solar kits in these environments could allow families to cook, heat, and communicate without endangering themselves. Entire villages could remain connected to the world outside, even when violence or disaster cuts them off from traditional infrastructure. This is not just about survival. It is fundamentally about dignity, hope, and the right to look forward to a future. There are, however, formidable barriers to overcome. The logistics of delivering thousands or even millions of portable solar units across a devastated country require unprecedented coordination. Funding must flow rapidly and efficiently, bypassing bureaucratic delays. Policy reforms are needed to prioritize decentralized renewables and encourage local manufacturing. Training and education are just as crucial. Communities need to know how to maintain and repair their solar kits to ensure long-term sustainability. And let us not forget the human dimension. Technology by itself is not a silver bullet. Real, lasting impact arises from vision, collaboration, and a spirit of adaptation. Ukraine's story is a testament to the power of grassroots innovation. Volunteers, small NGOs, and international partners have come together to bridge gaps, often improvising creative solutions in the face of overwhelming adversity. The Energy Act for Ukraine Foundation, for example, has pioneered the use of mobile solar stations, flexible, rapidly deployable hubs that can move as the front line shifts. These stations do more than provide power. They become community centers where people gather for news, to charge devices, or simply to support one another. Looking ahead, several possible scenarios for Ukraine's energy future come into focus. In the best-case scenario, Ukraine emerges as a regional leader in renewable energy, exporting clean electricity to neighboring European nations, and helping reduce the continent's dependence on fossil fuels from hostile regimes. This outcome would demand sustained investment, smart policy reforms, and full integration with the European energy market. In a less hopeful scenario, continued conflict could stymie progress, leaving Ukraine dependent on emergency aid and vulnerable to further attacks. A more moderate path might see gradual recovery, with smart grids, energy efficiency measures, and decentralized solutions slowly but steadily replacing the old, centralized system. For those watching from outside Ukraine, there are both practical and philosophical lessons to learn. Energy security is not simply a matter of comfort or convenience. It can be the difference between life and death during disasters. Whether facing conflict, a natural catastrophe, or a prolonged blackout, having the capacity to generate your own power can mean safety, communication, and survival. If you have ever considered investing in a small solar kit for emergencies, or supporting organizations bringing these solutions to those in need, now is the moment. Every solar panel, every battery, every watt of power can make a world of difference. But there is an even deeper lesson here. The crisis in Ukraine shows us how innovation and resilience can blossom even under the harshest conditions. When traditional systems fail, whether due to war, climate shocks, or economic crises, communities that embrace decentralized, renewable solutions often prove to be the most adaptable and robust. It is not just about technology, but about the spirit of cooperation, resourcefulness, and mutual support. Let's return, finally, to the families on the ground. Local volunteers and recipients have started calling these portable solar kits sun shields. The name is both poetic and apt. For thousands of Ukrainian families, these small solar panels symbolize much more than electricity. They represent hope, safety, and the promise of a brighter tomorrow. Every watt of solar energy generated, every meal cooked without fear of attack, every child studying by lamplight, is a quiet victory against darkness and despair. As Yuliana Onishchuk, the founder and CEO of the Energy Act for Ukraine Foundation, so eloquently states, every watt of energy produced, every project realized, and every life changed is a testament to our shared commitment to peace, unity, and a sustainable future. The obstacles on the road to widespread solar adoption in Ukraine are immense. Shattered infrastructure, chronic funding shortages, political inertia, and the ever-present threat of renewed attacks. But history shows that such obstacles, while daunting, are not insurmountable. With sustained international support, sound policy choices, and above all, the courage and resilience of those enduring the front lines, Ukraine holds the potential not only to survive, but to lead the way into a new era of energy independence and security. The story unfolding in Ukraine today is not only one of tragedy and loss. It is, increasingly, a story of adaptation, ingenuity, and the power of the human spirit to turn adversity into opportunity. In the years ahead, as Ukraine rebuilds, the lessons learned here could help shape a more secure, sustainable, and equitable energy future for conflict zones and vulnerable communities around the world. If this story moved you, please share it with friends, family, and colleagues. Subscribe to our channel for more in-depth reports on global technology, innovation, and resilience. And if you are looking for ways to help, check the links below to learn how you can support organizations working tirelessly to bring light, both literal and figurative, to the world's darkest places. Thank you for watching, and remember, even in the shadow of war, the power of the sun, captured by human ingenuity, can spark hope, ensure